What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to RacingDudes.com and welcome back to another edition of Rockets, Hits, and Heartbreaks. That's right, we're back, and we hadn't been on for a little while, mainly because of the busyness of the Breeders' Cup. It's really hard to get a whole lot done when the Breeders' Cup's going on. It takes up so much of our time. We're going to be back on a regular basis now that that's kind of way out of the way, and we're on to new stuff. And so the good news is we've got hits to talk about, so we will talk about hitting pick 5 at Del Mar on Sunday. We'll also talk about a miss at Del Mar on Sunday as well, and the frustrations that go along with that. And really what it does, since we're going to do the same track for all of them, we're going to be able to go through basically a whole card and how we handicapped it and so on and so forth. So a lot to look forward to in this one. I've been looking forward to doing this one all day. So we'll start it off with the tickets. So I will show you this one first. I'll show you the one that hit first. I think this was a good one. Is it early? Obviously, it hit. So they're all good when they hit. Early pick 5 at Del Mar. Pull up on the screen now for you. By the way, beautiful picture of Del Mar in the background here. But anyway, early pick 5 at Del Mar on Sunday. As you see, it was a $96 ticket, 4x3 by 2 by 4 by 2. Like I said, we'll go through this all once I kind of show you the two tickets here. But, a ticket you're probably familiar with. We like to do a ticket with this style of the $96 range here. And, just a pretty simple, pretty standard ticket that we use to hit that late or that early, I should say, early pick 5 at Del Mar. And then I will also show you the one that we missed. This one I almost felt was better structured than the last one I showed you there. I'll pull this one up for you now on the screen. I've done the same one again. Hold on here. We'll do a little technical difficulty. Okay, here we go. So, yeah, this one was the late pick 5 ticket. See, it's structured a bit differently. $72 was all we spent here. And we went 3 by 2 by 6 by a single by 4. And this one will be almost it's a loss, but I feel like this was actually the better ticket as far as how it was structured. But it sometimes it doesn't matter. You structured it pretty well, and it still doesn't come in, and you get beat by a horse shit. Probably wouldn't have used in 100 years. So I think that's the good thing about these videos. We, try to be transparent about, okay, this is what we did. This is what we should have done. This is, hey, this may have been a better ticket, but it's still lost, blah, blah, blah. The first one, pretty much straightforward caveman type ticket, where this one's a little more, 6 in one leg, 1 in the other, and got through that single that was having a meltdown in the stakes race at Del Mar on Sunday. So got through the single. It was a good one, and then still missed it. So we'll go through them all now. I'll pull this off, and what I will do for you guys here so you can follow along, I've wrote the ticket down on the bottom. So we will do that. I'll go ahead and throw this up there now. And so now you can kind of follow along and see what the ticket was. All right, let me share the screen back here. We'll go to Del Mar on Sunday. All right, here we go. Before I go through time form, let's go through the results here. First race, the 5 gets home, and we went 4 deep here, and the 5 got home. Rock the Bourbon paid it $20. So right there, boom, a big time start to the day for us. That really got us going in a big way. Second race, we went 3 deep, and we used the 3, 4, and the 6. The 4 wins it, the 3 second. The 6 actually was like 5th in this race, but pretty good at handicapping on this one here. Really didn't have to worry about it much. The 3, 4 looked pretty good the whole way. 640, nothing to write home about, but it's still a win, and you move on. Third leg, we went 2 deep. This is actually almost where we singled in the spot, almost singled the 2 horse. Through the 6 on last minute. I'll go through why all this in a second. Just want to show the results first. But the 6 gets the job done. So there's a situation where the structure worked in that spot. Almost went 1 deep, singled the 2 there, and then 3 in the went 3 deep in the last leg. Didn't do it. It worked out. And like I said, we'll cover that in the handicapping portion here in a second. But a nice $7.40 winner, beat the favorite of the 2 horse right there. Fourth leg, we went 4 deep. I thought this was very tricky, this race, and we'll go through it, like I said, in a minute. But never in doubt as far as our ticket. I think a lot of people were trying to get a little bit short on this leg, maybe get the 3, maybe get the 6. I just tried to use them all. I was just a little bit worried there. So the 4 gets it done. A big win there. We'll talk about that in a second. And finally, the last leg, 6-8, who we used, 8 wins. And so we're dancing all the way home here. A big win. And the pick 5, it was a pretty darn good one for $96. Pays $1,679.45. Huge weekend for the Rockets at Del Mar because of this. And as you know, if with a pick 5, you connect with just one, you're usually in pretty good shape. They usually pay very, very well. Thought this one was very good. And like I said, over $1,500 in profit Sunday at Del Mar playing this pick 5. We also had the pick 4 for much, much less, $115.15. So that shows you what that $20 winner in the first leg, how that juiced up those payouts. So good Sunday for the Rockets. All right, now let's go and let's talk about how we got there. This is race 1, and I've got up on the screen now. We went 3, 4, 5, 6 to start this thing out. Claimer going 1 mile on the turf, $32,000 claimer here. And yeah, like I said, 3, 4, 5, 6 is where we went. Kind of look at the time form numbers. Boy, everybody looks the same. Forget about the 1. Let's not focus on the 1. That's 78 spotlight and not that great. But then 91, 95, 93, 92, 94, 94. Not a lot of separation there between those horses and kind of what we were looking at. So we did not use the number 2 Ice Queen. And I don't know why that's not coming up like that. Here, I may have to zoom out. There we go. Zoom out a little bit for you here. We did not use Ice Queen. Just you look at some of these races. Yes, they were Starter Allowance Company, but just wasn't very good in the last 2 efforts. So just decided to toss that one out. The 7, kind of the same thing. Dropped down from the starter allowances to the claiming ranks in Santa Anita at this level and didn't do much. So just kind of eliminated the 2 and the 7. That left the 3, the 4, the 5, and the 6, who we used. Frazzled, coming second off the layoff, set the pace last time out on that layoff, or the race off the layoff. Just wanted to give him, or her, I should say, another shot. Felt good that this horse would run an improved race. Kind of look over here at the projected pace. There were some other pace horses in there, but we kind of weren't worried so much about the 7 and the 1. So the 3 was kind of the best horse on the pace. So we used the 3 in this spot. The 4, Beach Grass, a situation's dropping down in class in this spot. Only was beaten 5 3/4 in Starter Allowance Company at this distance at Santa Anita last time out. So felt pretty good about that. Pretty hot connections here of Doug O'Neill, Johnny Velasquez jumped aboard in this spot. So there were reasons for sure to use this horse. Number 5, Rock the Bourbon, another one dropping out of these Starter Allowance races. A horse that was within 5 1/4. Last time out at Santa Anita, going a mile. Look at here's a mile race, was within 7 of Starter Allowance Company. So it was a nice drop down in class. We just felt like this is a horse you better use. Had a win over the turf going this distance at Santa Anita against Maiden Claiming 50. One of the lessons, and I'll pass this along. The trainer Kelly Von Hemel kind of taught me about handicapping. He said if a horse breaks its maiden, say for $50,000 maiden claiming, the next race that's going to be the correct class level is probably a $25,000 claimer. In other words, half of what the maiden claiming price was is usually where they fit best for their next race when they face winners for the first time. So you look at this, it's a $32,000 claimer. Well, that's very close, right? So it did kind of feel like the horse breaks the maiden for the 50K maiden claiming level. Starter. That's just not the class level that you want to be at. Now the horse gets back to the 32K claiming level, which was the level where the horse probably belonged all along. They just kind of got ambitious with the horse, back to the right claiming level. It worked out. So you never know when things are going to pop up. That you've heard intelligent people and people who have been in the game forever, like a Kelly Von Hemel, basically grew up in horse racing. Never going to know when you're going to use something that somebody like that tells you. Here was a situation where I absolutely used it. I just thought, well, this is a spot, right? I remember we had a horse with him that broke the maiden at the 15K maiden claiming level, and next time was in a 7-5 claimer facing winners for the first time. And I really remember texting him and saying, well, we're kind of low. We just won for 15 and now we're 7-5. And like I said, he taught me that lesson. And he said, that's what you got to do if you're going to spot to win. That's the way you need to do it. So anyway, comes through here on this. And like I said, it's you just never know when you get little tips like that and you're going to use them. And maybe if you're hearing that for the first time, you can use that on a handicapping race or handicapping a race, I should say, down the road, and it'll work out for you. So anyway, the 5 Rock the Bourbon we put on the ticket because of that. And then Consternation, the 6 horse, obviously just kind of the favorite for a reason. Got 3rd at this level last time out at Santa Anita, also at this distance. Always running pretty well at this mile distance here when spotted in the right spots. And, last 3 races hit the board. Made sense to use. Didn't get the job done as we go back here now to the results. The 5, Rock the Bourbon, gets it done, $20 on the win end, and really was the key to this thing paying off well. So really good start there. It's always nice when you can do that. All right, second race. Let's go to this one. So we're not here all day. I promise I'll be a little bit quicker on some of these other races. Maiden claiming $20,000 for this one, 5.5 furlongs here on the dirt. Just not a great race, right? It just was not that good. We went 3 deep with the 3, the 4, and the 6. Let's start with the 3. Devil Moon, just a horse, pretty strong connections. They've been trying much tougher horses on the turf the last 3 races. Really hadn't done much. Had a dirt start. Hadn't done much. Going to drop down. This is a significant drop from a maiden special weight to the 20K maiden claiming level. I mean, that is a very significant drop. So we thought Devil Moon was certainly one we needed to use in this spot. The 4, Conch Daddy, getting back to the dirt and also dropping down in class. And you looked back three races back at the 30K maiden claiming level, set the pace, 87 time for him, got second, only beaten a length and a quarter. We just kind of felt like this horse is going to set the pace again. You look at the pace projector up here on time for him. Looks like the 4, Conch Daddy, was going to be loose on the lead in this spot. Just made sense. After that race at Los Al was claimed, and the new trainer, pretty ambitious spotting, trying that maiden special weight level, and then tried to go to the turf last time out. Just thought the 4 was spotted in a lot better, race for this one. And then the 6 was Frost Alert. First time gelding, huge layoff, strong connections, horses dropping down in class, horses trying the dirt for the first time after the turf to debut on. Very weird. Very weird horse here. This felt like had to respect the connections enough to give this horse a shot. So we went 3, 4, and 6 in this leg. You scroll down here, the 4 wins it, and we kind of talked. The 6 was the weird horse, afraid not to use, didn't run much. The 4 ran well. The 3 ran well. Here, the 1-2 finisher. And again, you look at the 4, you just kind of got to open your eyes sometimes when it's like, okay, maiden claiming 50 on the turf. That means nothing for today's race. And a maiden special weight, that doesn't mean a ton for this race either, even though it was on the dirt. Get back to these same conditions we saw at Los Al, except we're dropping just a little bit more and we're loose on the lead. Just kind of felt like he was one you had to use, and he gets the job done. All right, third leg of this one, and this is, like I said, almost went with a single in the spot, didn't end up doing it, ended up going too deep, and boy does it help. We went 2 in the 6, and the 6 wins the race. And this is, again, I'll pause, and I always talk about this. This is where your luck comes in, right? Because the original ticket, when we were tinkering around with it, had the 2 singled. You single the 2 here, you're going to lose this thing. Instead, we go too deep, and you win, and sometimes the handicapping is just half of it, and the structure and the luck comes into the second half of it. Anyway, maiden special weight, 1 mile on the turf for the Calbreds here, $70,000 purse. The 2 Loyal to the Fault was our top choice, the horse we thought about singling in the spot. Here's why we didn't. This filly had some chances at this level, at this distance, and even at this track to win, and just hadn't finished the job. And so you look at this, it's like second by a length, fourth by 2 lengths, second by a length and a quarter. All these speed figures were pretty much better than most of the rest of the field, but just kept going back and thinking, boy, she's had 3 chances. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not just real comfortable with the single here. So we didn't end up doing it. We also played the 6, Carol Lombard, and a couple things. Bill D'Amato on the turf, on the circuit, pretty tough not to play. So Ramon Vasquez jumps aboard. He's been riding very well for D'Amato. 2 really good things. And you look, this horse debuted at 6 furlongs in a Calbred maiden special weight. Just didn't get out of the gate very well, kind of sluggish, made up some ground, 5th, beaten 7. You just thought, hey, you're going to stretch him out to a mile today. The horse gets out of the gate a little bit better. I think the horse can win, and she did. She got the job done for D'Amato. And like I said, clearly the second choice, almost singled, though, for us. Didn't do it. Like the connections, like the stretch out, like the second time out. Just thought that, too. Hey, got beat a few times at this level. Really not a lot of excuses. Maybe it would happen again. Lo and behold, it does happen again, and look where the 2 finishes, second. So once again, this 2-horse, remember the name Loyal to a Fault, might just be one that's going to finish second a lot. We'll kind of, for another day, I guess that debate is to see if we're going to use this horse again. All right, let's move on. 3, 4, 5, and 6 is what we use in the 4th leg. An allowance at Del Mar this time. Allowance option claimer, $100,000 claiming tag if eligible, 6 furlongs in this one. And like I said, I thought this was really tricky. You had a comeback horse in Ginobili. You had Get Her Number. You had Howbeit, and you had Forbidden Kingdom, another horse, kind of second off the layoff. So we used 3, 4, 5, 6. I think this is a leg a lot of people tried to go a little bit shorter in. I was just really confused by this race altogether. You got Ginobili coming off almost a year layoff, but the class of the field, without any doubt, been running in all these graded stakes races, been running pretty well. Won the Pat O'Brien over this track, was second in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, and the Scar Mile was 6th. Didn't run very well. Obviously, something happened. Running for Peter Miller for the first time. I don't know. There was a lot to like, but also, boy, long layoff. Didn't want to go short there, but thought he deserved it. Get Her Number was actually my top choice. The horse was, in the best horse that was in form, so to speak, was second in the Bing Crosby over this track. Last time was in an allowance race, won at Churchill Downs, of course, beat like Gunnet, so it wasn't that great of a race. Was really bad last time out, but still kind of gave that horse a little bit of a pass. Peter Miller, and I thought this was interesting, he gets Flavian Pratt, aboard on that one. I just thought, Get Her Number's probably going to be pretty live, and did run well, won the race, obviously. Howbeit, a horse that won last time out at Santa Anita, was third in an allowance race here 2 races back. Didn't run very well in the Bing Crosby, though. That's the thing that was kind of a bad thing when you're looking at this horse. But when you feel like, hey, just won a grade 2 race, now we're in allowance, probably need to include that horse as well. And then Forbidden Kingdom, if you remember, this horse was running very flashy races on the 3-year-old circuit here, San Vicente and the San Felipe, just dominant wins. Stretch out Santa Anita Derby, just couldn't carry that distance. Came back in the Santa Anita Sprint Championship, looked a little rusty, went a little fast early. Just kind of felt like, man, get out in front on this track, going to be tough to beat. And just didn't quite get the job done. But it felt like before the race, that's when we really needed to use. So we're down here the results, and it comes in 3, 4, 6, 5. So our top 4 finished in the top 4 there. Not a big surprise. The other 2 horses really weren't a factor. This is the closest thing to quote unquote buying a race, using all. In my opinion, we used all the horses that had any chance whatsoever in this one and just tried to get through it. As it turns out, Ginobili didn't take a ton of money in this race compared to the other ones, and boy, it would have been nice to get him home, but Get Her Number gets it done for Flavian Pratt at 2-1. All right, last leg of this thing, the pay leg, and it worked out. Starter allowance company here for this one. We went too deep. Starter allowance 5 furlongs here, the distance, and we ended up using the 6 and the 8. Let's examine them very quickly. The 8 was the top choice here. Another one we thought about singling, but first time out against winners. Usually don't like to single those kind of horses. So if you look this, started on debut for a trainer that's not as highly regarded as Doug O'Neill. Let's put it that way. On the dirt, no running whatsoever. Gets to Doug O'Neill. Doug moves this horse down in class, moves this horse to the turf, and an easy win, a gate to wire, 105 time form. That 105 time form stood out above the rest in this field, and you kind of saw, hey, pretty easy win. Cruised in here. Looked great and definitely one to use. You could project some improvement also, second time on the turf, second time for Doug O'Neill. You just had a feeling this horse was going to run really well. Seemed like a very clear use. We did want to get the 6 Queen's Code involved here. Another one coming off a victory last time out on the turf. Took 9 starts, but got the job done in a Calbred Stakes last time out. And we just felt like this horse, at the distance, same distance as, or excuse me, at the 6 furlong distance. This was the 5 furlong distance, but still, horse that had speed, wanted to get this horse involved. So we went 6-8 here, trying to get another win, go back-to-back for Queen's Code. As you see, Queen's Code nowhere to be found, but Icy Flavor gets it done for Edwin Maldonado, Doug O'Neill, and the 8-horse, like I said, cruises home, and there it is. There's that payout one more time. Almost $1,700 or $1,700, as I was trying to say. He couldn't do it. So that is that one. Let's go to the late pick 5. Kind of go through this. So, okay, one thing I want to mention. I talked about, we thought real hard about singling the 2 in this early pick 5, and then adding a horse in the early pick 5 on the last leg. So you go to the late pick 5. Race 5 is also involved in that, and that's the horse we would have snuck in there, the 3. So we almost went 3-6-8 in this early pick 5, and then just used the 2 in that third leg. But instead, we used 3-6-8 in this one. So we went ahead and threw that 3 horse into the mix in the late pick 5 because we had a single, so we could afford to kind of throw that in there. This was just a $72 ticket. Unfortunately, it doesn't cash. Let's go through and kind of talk about why. And by the way, the 3 was Uncle George, who got 3rd in that race. So, did do a little bit of running there for that one. All right, now let's move on. We've already talked about the 5th race with the 3, the 6, and the 8 as the uses here. The 6th race, we used the 5 and the 6. They ran 1-3. The 5 gets it done. We'll talk about this in a minute, why we use these horses. Went 6 deep in here. That this race was completely wide open. The 3 Phenom wins it. The bad news is, 580 was the winner here, so we didn't really need to go 6 deep. Probably ended up costing us. We'll go through that in a second. But anyway, we did get through. That's the good news. Singled the 2 wins. Really was never in doubt. That was pretty easy victory there. And then in the last leg, we went 1-7, 9-10. The 1's right there in second. The 10 is in third. The 7 was up there kind of close for a second. The 9. So we ran 2, 3, 5, 6. Unfortunately, that's not going to cash a ticket as a 6. 50-cent dollars won the race. So tough one. Very tough one here. And we'll talk about, what happened. All right, let's go on. So the 6th race, we talked about the 5th. We used 3, 6, and 8. The 6th race, we used the 5 and the 6. It was a Calbred maiden claiming race, $50,000, 5.5 furlongs on the dirt. Let's go to the spotlight now. And listen, the time form spotlight is not by any means the end-all be-all of handicapping, but anytime you see this, 56, 69, 64, first-time starter, click on the first-time starter here. Yeah, not too bad. Maybe we'll think about this horse. 78, 81, 57, 65, and of course the 8 was scratch. 5 and the 6 stand out so much that it's a really good place to start. Okay, so we kind of examined the 4. We just decided let's leave this horse off the ticket. Could have been a mistake. We kind of debated it for a while. Kind of thought about getting the 4 involved a little bit. Just didn't do it. The 4 finishes last. So looking back, that's a good horse not to use. But I don't know. Before the race, you look at a Sunrace Tours, trainers 1 for 4, basically 2 for 4 hitting the board with first-time starters. You thought about it a little bit. The works weren't bad, but again, didn't use, and good thing. But you did use these 5 and 6 and Night Party, 3 starts on the career for Night Party, the filly. And then, run first off the claim last time out, the new trainer, and ran a much improved race. And really 2 out of 3 starts were pretty good. Los Al just wasn't very good at all. So you kind of thought the 5 would show up pretty well. Look at the pace projector up here. 5 looks like lone speed in the race. So definitely one that you thought could win. Hot thoughts. This horse making the 2nd straight start on the dirt. Started out on the turf against Special Weight Company. 9th, beaten 21 and a quarter. Last time out, maiden Special Weight Company. Ran a much better race. 2nd, beaten 2 lengths. And as we look, the 5 kind of got loose and was able to get the job done. So pretty straightforward leg in that one. All right, 7th race. Well, let me just go back. You look at the spotlight on time form here for this one. Major standouts seem simple. Look at the spotlight here. All these horses look exactly the same. Really got to dig down deep. We went 6 deep in this spot. I'll go through all of them quickly right now. But first of all, allowance 5 furlongs, allowance optional claimer here on the turf. The one baby steps, just felt like the turf races were pretty good. This race here, 3 back at Del Mar, second, only beating a length and a quarter, was really the determining factors. Like, yeah, we probably need to use this horse. Wide open race, runs pretty well at Del Mar. Seems like an easy use. Phenom ended up being the favorite, and it's clear to see why. 7 starts, but did get the maiden broke last time out in that last one, and won gate to wire by 6. So, yeah, I think you got to use the horse, but also, I didn't think this horse was, one you really want to go short with a single. It's pretty weird, right? The horse you didn't think was going to get the trip that she got last time out. Took a long time to break the maiden, 6.5 furlongs. Now we're cutting back to 5. It just didn't feel like this was one you wanted to go short with. So thought, okay, yeah, we'll get involved for sure. But, I don't know. This one didn't look like a slam dunk to me. Maybe it should have, though. It was Phil D'Amato trained the horse, and hard to beat him on the turf, as we found out in the sequence. So did use the 3 in there as well. 5, 6, 7, and 9 to round it up here. The 5, Stop Shopping Pharaoh. Coming back off a layoff, but Jonathan Wong pretty darn good off of layoffs here. 30 starters in the past year, 20% of those horses won, 53% of those horses hit the board. So thought the 5 would show up and run pretty well. As far as the class level, pretty much, where this horse has belonged. 5 furlongs, hey, broke the maiden at 5 furlongs over this track. Just felt like that was one you needed to use as well. Ready, Jet, Go. We were taking a little bit of a shot with this one. The numbers were pretty good. We were going to have to move up in class quite a bit here. Just thought this horse might get a decent pace set up. Thought, hey, if we're going to use 6 of them, that's one we could throw on the ticket, and it isn't too crazy. Woodbine Way, the 7 horse, another one, just kind of a consistent allowance horse since coming back from the layoff. We're here at Del Mar at 5 furlongs, got second, only beating a length and a quarter. Kind of not that great of an effort next time out, and then last time out, third, only beating a length and a half. Long story short, she had been around. This was a field that looked pretty even, so we'll take a shot with the 7, threw that one on the ticket. And then the 9, Mendenhall Mill, I don't know, maybe this was one we should have maybe, not used, coming off a layoff. Last 2 races just weren't very good before that layoff, but way back when, this horse was running pretty well. 5 furlong race at Del Mar. That second, only beaten 3/4 of a length, then came back and broke the maiden, going 6 furlongs at Santa Anita. Like I said, just kind of fell off after that. So, maybe the 9 didn't need to be on there, but just, it's easy to say after the race. Before the race, you're kind of looking at this, I was like, yeah, 12-1 morning line. Don't think this horse is going to get bet. We could sneak this one in here. We got a favorite single in the next race, so let's take a shot. I don't hate it. It didn't work out. So if you look on this one, we do get the winner with Phenom, and we did not use the 8 at all, and the 8 gets up there for second. We did not use the 4 at all, and the 4 gets up there for third. So the handicapping was really pretty pathetic on this race, but we got through, and end of the day, you go 6 deep, you get the shortest price you use. It's not good, and it's usually a sign that you're in trouble, but again, we did get through. That was the good news, but not my proudest moment as a handicapper going 6 deep and Phenom wins. And the other horses, if they second and third, we didn't even use. So pretty pathetic, but we did get through it. All right, 4th leg, pretty easy. Won't spend a lot of time on that. Having a meltdown was the single in this race. It's the Bob Hope for the 2-year-olds going 7 furlongs. Grade 3 event here. Pretty simple to me. Baffert enters 3 in the race, but having a meltdown just looked better than the rest of them. Practical Move was the only other horse that I thought could challenge the Bafferts. I don't know. I didn't like the distance for Practical Move. I know this horse is by Practical Joke. He seemed to improve going 1 mile, a 2-turn 1 mile race at Santa Anita, where he was moved up to first after Fort Bragg fouled him pretty hard at the top of the stretch. I don't know. I just didn't like Practical Move in the spot very much. My biggest worry was Newgate. Horse that was cutting back in distance after finishing 5th in the Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland, which was a really good race. But you look 2 races back, he wasn't really competitive with having a meltdown, going this distance at this track. So everything really just pointed to having a meltdown for me. You look at the horse coming in, 2 wins at this track, and just had looked really good doing it. Moved up to 7 furlongs, which was today's distance at the Bob Hope and the Del Mar Futurity. Just got beat by Cave Rock, who at the time was just fantastic. So I just thought this horse was an easy single. And it's always, you can say that and then whatever happens, happens. But it's always nice to say it and it actually came true. So having a meltdown, nice winner there. All right, this is the leg we lost. We went 4 deep in this leg. I was feeling pretty darn good. We were going to get this home. 1, 7, 9, and 10 here. Honestly, I thought this, even though we lost this leg, I thought the handicapping was better in this leg than it was in the third leg, race 7, where we got through because we used 4 horses and they ran 2, 3, 5, 6. So we were all over it. And honestly, the 6 is just a horse couldn't get to. Instead of talking about the horses that we used, I'll talk about the one that won. The 6 horse, 50 cent dollars was the winner. The horse in 2 starts just had not looked good whatsoever. But last time out at Los Al, the horse, improved quite a bit. Won a maiden claiming $20,000 race by 3 lengths and looked very good. Now, kind of talked about it. I thought the 10K claiming level probably where you could shoot for this horse next. 16K though, I mean, that's close-ish. It's not way off. They didn't move the horse way up in class or anything like that. But I think my lack of respect for the races at Los Al ultimately led to me not using this horse. Speed figures weren't great either, but 20K maiden claimer at Los Al, usually the field is just not great. Horse was 9-2 that day. Looked good, and I just didn't think that Los Al form would translate to a track like Del Mar. But, it was at a mile, and it's just one of those things. That last race, I should say, was at a mile, same distance as today's. And, looking back, it's easy to say, yeah, that's one you could have used, but overall, probably not one I'm going to use, in the future either. Just too many red flags, too many strikes against. It's frustrating when you go 4 deep in a field of 10 and get there, but it is what it is. Tip the cap to this horse. Ran really well and deserves credit. Picked up the win. So there it is. That's all I want to talk about that one. All right. Yeah. But anyway, $72 ticket did not come through. Would have been much, much more depressing if we hadn't hit that early pick 5. That is for sure. So we'll go to the payouts here. Yeah. $45.80 winner. And the pick 5, $737.25. And that's another reason why it wasn't too bad. The payouts were not great on our end either for our 4 horses. So is what it is. We will move on. All right, guys, that is it. That's all we're going to talk about today on the Rockets. Went a little long, but that's okay. I think that's all right. Hopefully everybody likes watching these and kind of learns something, even if it's just one little takeaway that you can use later in handicapping. That's the goal, and that's what we're looking for. So hope you guys enjoy these. If you ever want to see anything else, I have a question or anything, just comment and we'll definitely get to those. And that's it. All right, guys. Thanks everybody for watching Rockets, Hits, and Heartbreaks. Like I said, we'll be back more on a regular basis now that the big race weekend is over there at the Breeders' Cup. So thanks everybody for watching, and hopefully we see you next week.
RacingDudes.com is your home for the best free picks for every race, every track across the country. We're ramping up for the 2023 Kentucky Derby, and we want you to join us in the fun. Subscribe to Racing Dudes YouTube channel and click the notification bell so you never miss a single video. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.